All right, we are back with another episode of Wealth Building Made Simple. We got Susanna Gibb, the Gibb Agency here today. What's going on, Susanna?
Hey, Philip, how's it going?
It is going good. So, um, one of the things that a lot of clients are doing or thinking about, and me and my wife are actually thinking about it. We're reading a book about it right now. Is owning Airbnb properties, which I imagine is going to be a whole different, like, that's not going to be covered by our home insurance, policy. Uh,
No, it goes on a what's called a fire dwelling or a landlord policy. So, um, and it's the short-term rentals cause typically more damage than your long-term rentals. And so while it kind of goes on the same form, there's a couple questions that we have to answer in the beginning of the process that says, is this a short-term or long-term rental? And this is, again, is this market is kind of developing as demand for Airbnbs has gotten higher and higher and higher. We used to just kind of slide it under the radar as a regular fire dwelling and it wouldn't be that expensive. But now all the carriers are like, we'll take short-term rentals, but we're going to charge more for it.
hmm Yeah, and okay, so that sounds simple enough. Is it and is it one where are there ways or things you can do to uh, get better rates, like have a security system, or as your history of owning Airbnbs is you know longer with
It's,
no claims, you get better
you
rates?
know,
How does that work?
there's a couple different ways that you can do it. One, you can do it as an individual, and then you get the multi-policy discount with wherever you have your home and your auto and your umbrella. And so it slides with those. And as long as you don't have, different carriers have different requirements, but as long as you don't have more than like 13 or 15, somewhere in that vicinity, um, the carriers are usually okay with it. If you have more than that, then they want you to put it on a commercial policy.
Got it. And does commercial mean more expensive, or is just a separate type of deal?
It's separate, but it typically the coverage is expanded. You can have higher limits of coverage, so it's typically more expensive.
Got it.
So we have somebody this week that came in and they were like, "We are getting this Airbnb in this little town, and we want it to be. It's going under our LLC. It's going under our LLC all day long." And I said, "Well, that's fine, but if we put it as LLC, it's got to go commercial. That's fine. That's how we want it." And so I was like, "Well, let's." I told Shelby in our office, I was like, "Just quote it as a personal and then show them both. Guess which way they're gonna do it now."
Yeah, yeah.
They're like, "Oh, yeah, we wanna put it as a personal." I was like, "Yep, thought so." I mean, it's like 3 times the difference in price.
And that's gonna affect their cash flow projections, like, significantly. Because I think, and that's why I wanted to ask about it, because when you start reading it, you start factoring your costs and all this kind of stuff, and insurance is a cost that could, like, be positive cash flow or negative. But I mean, if it's gonna make or break the deal, then you bought wrong anyway. But I'm just saying, like, it's not an insignificant line item in your cost projection.
No, and I think people who are looking to getting into the Airbnb like yourself, this market has changed a lot. Airbnb itself has changed a lot as far as what they want, what they demand, how they want. Because I have quite a few clients and they're like, man, it is so different now. If I don't get 5 reviews, I don't show up on the front page anymore. Like there's really lots of ticky tacky behind the scenes things that need to be factored into that decision, whether you want to do it or not. And hopefully that insurance and that profitability is factors into whether this is a good decision for you and your family.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think I kind of it's funny you say it like that. I was like, oh, okay, it's kind of like social media, podcasting, everything. The people who were early on TikTok have lots of followers. Like Twitter, lots of followers. Early Airbnb, they got plenty of equity, probably refinance, so their profitability is fine. Early podcasters like us, 5 years from now, folks are gonna be like, "Golly, man, it's so expensive to do a podcast, and how'd you guys build such great businesses?" Like, we were early. We were early, way ahead of, all of you who listened passively and didn't act. So let
What are
everybody
we
know
talking about again? I forgot it.
we were talking about Airbnb properties,
Oh, yes,
talking about the future,
Airbnbs.
insuring 'em. Okay, so separate policy.
It is. And
You
again, which we alluded to in one of our other podcasts, is the importance of having an umbrella to go with this Airbnb. Because you get, if one of your renters gets hurt on the property and they can prove that you're negligent, then hello, liability issue. So you want to make sure that you're covered with that umbrella as well.
big deal. So here's the thing that I'm hearing over March. You gotta have a good insurance agent because, like, you gotta insure stuff or it's gonna cost you a lot of money, but you also wanna make sure that you're buying the right coverage under the right type and the right entity for what you're trying to do because it can be, like, expensive, right? Because in an auto show, if I bought if I bought the wrong kinda car, pushes up my coverage. If I put the Airbnb under my, uh under a commercial, it's gonna be more expensive. And so, for me, this is educational because I tend to think insurance is insurance and what does it matter? But like the agent is super important.
I mean, listen, you can go buy stuff on your own all day long, but I hope you know what you're doing and taking. There's some people who are like, no, I want to do a deep dive in insurance. Well, good on you. Or you could come to an insurance agent like us. We only get paid if we sell you something. So we're 100% commission. So there's no, and it doesn't cost you extra to use an agent. So why not avail yourself of that? But be aware there are agents out there now who are charging, and I'm not going to say names, but they look like the things that fly south for the winter. And they charge a fee just to talk to you,
They
like
do?
they're a lawyer or something.
Wow.
So you got to be aware of those fees, which we don't charge. So
Yeah. I know exactly the one you're talking about. I'm gonna ask you about them offline for a second. But let everybody know how they can reach you if they want more information.
www.gibagencydallas, that's GIBB agencydallas.com. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram and the TikTok.
All right. Well, appreciate you. Enjoy your week.
Thanks. Have a good day.